In this video, we'll write the balanced net ionic equation for NiCl2 plus NH4 This is nickel-2 chloride plus ammonium sulfide. First thing we do with net ionic equations, we balance the molecular equation. This is the molecular equation. I can see I have one ammonium here and two here. So let's put a 2 in front of the ammonium chloride. Now I have two ammoniums on each side, but I have two chlorines. That's good. I got two chlorines here. I have a nickel on each side and a sulfur on each side. So this is the balanced molecular equation. Now we can write the states for each substance. Chlorides are very soluble, so we're going to write AQ. That means this will dissolve, dissociate into its ions. Ammonium compounds, very soluble. If you know your solubility rules, aqueous. Sulfides in general are insoluble. Ammonium sulfide's a bit of an exception. So because it's insoluble, when these two substances react, they form an insoluble compound, and it's going to be a solid. It's going to sink to the bottom of the test tube as a precipitate. So we have this solid here that's a precipitate. We have an ammonium compound here, so that's going to be aqueous. So we have our states. Now we can split the strong electrolytes into ions for the complete ionic equation. We don't know the charge on nickel, it's a transition metal, but the chloride ion, that's always 1 minus. And we have two of them, so this has to be 2 plus. So we have our nickel-2 ion, Ni2 plus, and then we have two of these chloride ions, 2Cl minus. The ammonium ion, the whole thing is 1 plus. That's a real good one to remember. We have two of them. So two ammonium ions, and then sulfur, that's going to be 2 minus. So the sulfide ion is S2 minus. Those are the reactants in our net ionic equation. When we do net ionic equations, we don't split solids apart. So in the products, we have nickel sulfide stays together, and then we have plus, minus, so two ammonium ions, just like in the reactants, plus two chloride ions, also like the reactants. So now that we have our complete ionic equation, we can cross out the spectator ions that are on both sides of the complete ionic equation. In the products, I see I have two chloride ions. In the reactants, I also have two chloride ions. Those are spectator ions. We can cross those out. In the reactants, I have two ammonium ions. Also in the products, spectator ions. Cross them out. What's left is the net ionic equation for nickel-2 chloride plus ammonium sulfide. I'll clean it up and write the states in. We'll have our net ionic equation. You'll note that charge is conserved. We have a 2 plus and a 2 minus. That adds up to 0, net charge of 0. Over here, this is a neutral compound, net charge of 0. So charge is the same on both sides, and if you count the atoms up, they're the same as well. This is Dr. B with the balanced net ionic equation for nickel-2 chloride plus ammonium sulfide. Thanks for watching.